Good afternoon, everybody. We'll be starting in about 30 seconds. Testing 1, 2, 3. I hope you're all doing really, really well. Good morning, or should I say good afternoon to Danny. Hidden Agendas is in chat. Manjeet. Queen is in chat. Queen 350 is in chat. I hope you are well. Villain Bear is here. Our resident bear. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening to you. I believe I have seen, if I scroll up, some of our regulars are still here. Triple B is in chat. I hope you're well. Right then, let's get this show on the road. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike, and today's a deep dive into World Liberty Financial. We're going to spend about an hour going through absolutely everything you need to know about World Liberty Financial. If you're watching this on catch-up, not to worry. We're going to cover everything there is to know about the token. We are going to go through in order. We're going to go through their website. I'm going to explain a little bit about the company. I'm going to go through the board of directors. I'm going to go through their plan, basically what their strategy is going to be. We're then going to look at WLFI token. We're going to have a look at it on CoinMarketCap, look at the tokenomics. We're then going to go and have a look what you do with the token. Then we're going to go and look at USD1, which is the stable coin of World Liberty Financial. I've got a few questions in chat to answer about that. We're going to talk about the supply surge. Recently, USD1 has hit a major milestone. We're going to have a little look at that. We're then going to look at the application for World Liberty Financial to become a bank. We're going to have a look at their portfolio. We're going to have a look at World Liberty Forum. And at the very end, we're going to have a look at the price action of WLFI. All of that in 1 hour. Can it be done? That's the question. I don't want you to answer that question in chat. What I'd like you to do in chat is basically answer and ask some of the questions. We've got some questions. We've got a couple of questions from Villain Bear, 2 very good questions from Villain Bear that we're going to answer as well. If you've got any questions over on the other channel, feel free to ask them in chat as well. Somebody has given a price target at what price to take profits of World Liberty Financial. We'll probably have a little look at that as well. And of course, we are streaming on Binance Square. So if you are here, say hello in chat and we will say hello back. Now, to begin with, we are going to head over and have a look at what World Liberty Financial is. That's where we're going to start this quest today. And away we go. So remember, ask questions throughout the stream. This is a deep dive, but it's also an interactive deep dive. If you have questions, ask. Otherwise, you could watch this, get to the end, and miss out some really important information. One thing you do need to know, however, is that World Liberty Financial's token and USD1 are both on Binance, and there are some kind of special staking rewards offers for USD1 over there as well that you can take advantage of. So make sure to go and check them out. Now, WLFI markets are here. We're not going to start with that. Well, first of all, we're going to start about the company. That's where we should probably begin before we get into the deep depths of it. They're the bridge between legacy and what's next. You've probably all heard of World Liberty Financial, but you might not know everything about them, and hopefully we will answer that. We blend traditional finance with the transparency of blockchain, creating a simple, accessible way to bridge classic banking with the digital financial future. How we're upgrading finance for the digital era, supported US dollar-based stablecoins, making capital more accessible, and bridging the Web 2 and Web 3 gap. Basically making everything simple so we can onboard as many people as possible to Web 3. That is the objective of World Liberty Financial. They have their own coin, they have their own stable coin, and as we're going to see later, they have a strategy on how they're going to grow the business. Now, the team might bring up some very, very famous looking people that you may recognize. On the top left-hand corner there, we have Donald J. Trump. He, of course, is the co-founder. We have Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Barron Trump. The Trump family make up the head of this table. But there's more to World Liberty Financial than just the Trump family. You've got Chase, you've got Zach, you've got Stephen, Zach down there, Alex, Corey, Ryan, and Brandy. That is the top layer team of World Liberty Financial. So that's who you're dealing with when you hold their tokens and when you use USD1. It's a very strong team. They've got members from different backgrounds, both in Web3 and, of course, in traditional finance. And, of course, the President of America and some of his family members is there. So they've got a lot of ties. They've got a lot of people involved in crypto. And that is who makes up the team. Now, the one thing to understand about World Liberty Financial is that the token itself, which we're going to cover in a minute, and the stablecoin are directly intertwined. And when we talk about World Liberty Financial token in a minute, you'll understand why. They are using the revenue generated by the stablecoin to buy back World Liberty Financial tokens. That is what they are doing with the profits from WLFI. So that's probably the biggest thing I can tell you. It's the one thing we've been talking about on the stream ever since this token went live. We've been talking about the fact that there are 3 tokens that we like the buyback mechanisms on. 2 of them we've already discussed at great length in yesterday's stream. And today we're going to be talking about World Liberty Financial tokens. So this is not a token that's just going to float around. There is absolute buy pressure on this token from USD1. We're in the middle of a storm. So if our internet connection just pauses for a few seconds, you know why. So World Liberty Financial token, WLFI, is ranked in the top 30 tokens in the world. It's currently coming in at 13.4 cents. Made many mention of the fact that when this token went live, there was going to be a brief period where it spiked to the upside. And my buy area for World Liberty Financial token was about 11 cents. That's where I was going to start picking up this token. And that's where I was buying this token. I've bought the token between 11 cents and about 18 cents over the time it's been live, which was probably September, October last year when it went live. It's got a fully diluted valuation of $13.4 billion. This is a large project. The market cap is currently coming in at $3.5 billion. The circulating supply is $26.74 billion with 100 billion tokens in total. So 27% of the tokens are in circulation. And of course, that roadmap for the release of those tokens is tied very strongly to USD1, which we're going to cover in the next part of this stream. However, what do you use the token for? Why do you use World Liberty Financial? What is the purpose of the token? Well, it's the native token of World Liberty Financial. It's their token that sits alongside their stablecoin. And you can get involved because it's a governance token. What does that mean? It means that if you hold the token, you can have a say in the future of WLFI and World Liberty Financial. 3 steps, 1 vision: propose, review, and vote. Anybody can propose, anybody can vote, and if it's passed, it happens. So it is a DAO. It is a voting token, very similar to a few other tokens. One token we'll talk about this evening that has the same setup as this. It's got a buyback mechanism. It's got a voting mechanism. So you are part and parcel of World Liberty Financial. That's the point of the token. But it goes a little bit further than that. It goes to the fact that there is a buyback mechanism on the stablecoin that we're going to talk about as well. So there's a few utilities at the moment with World Liberty Financial. You can, of course, go to various different sexes, exchanges. You can stake it on there. You can earn a little bit of yield on there that's offered by the exchange themselves. But for me, this is the key with this token. This is where I think the long-term value of World Liberty Financial token comes from, and it's this. Absolutely fantastic coin market cap. That is what we want to see. Let me see if I can find this on Google. I literally brought this article up last night when I was preparing this stream. So let's see if we can go and bring it up on here. Let's see if we can find it. And this is what I want to really talk about. This is the one. Now, this is the article that was working last night that I've clicked on. Maybe the article on CoinMarketCap has gone down. Maybe that's the case. CoinMarketCap is not working. So we will go and have a look at this one. It doesn't really matter which article we pick. I just want to basically point this out. So World Liberty Financial executes $7.79 million token buyback after the recovery. Now, basically, the long and short of this is the token itself on CoinMarketCap, the token itself has a certain level of buy pressure on it. People natively buying the token, whatever that may be. Now, having USD1 at the market cap it is, which is about $5 billion, that is generating roughly $250 million a year in revenue. And a very large percentage of that is being used to buy back this token. And I would love to bring up the article, but unfortunately CoinMarketCap is not working. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go back over here and we're going to have a little look at CoinMarketCap, the chart instead. So what does this mean for the token? If you're buying back, let's say for argument's sake, $200 million a year worth of this token with a market cap of about 3.5 billion, you're buying about 5 to 6% of the token per year off the market. That is consistent buy pressure across every single month because this is being done on a monthly basis. And that's going to support the price of World Liberty Financial. And that, for me, has always been the key with this token. That's what I've been talking about ever since I started buying into it. I told you all in November the 3 tokens that I was going to buy. One of them was going to be World Liberty Financial. That's the one we were talking about. And that is why it doesn't matter if this token goes through a downturn. Why? Because the stable coin is consistently growing in size. And because the stable coin is growing in size, the amount of revenue generated by that stable coin is going in size. So the further World Liberty Financial token falls, let's say it goes back to 10 cents, they'll be able to buy 30% more tokens than they can today. If the price goes up to 20 cents, for example, they're going to be able to buy maybe 20% less, 30% less of the token than they could today. So it's all about the constant buy pressure that's being applied to the token from USD1. And that, for me, is the crux of what I think is great about WLFI. It's the constant buy pressure. And it's coming from this. These are the top stablecoin tokens by market cap. And coming in 5th position on here is USD1. That's the stablecoin of World Liberty Financial. Now that's coming in with a market cap of $5.1 billion. We covered on the stream, maybe back in August or September last year, we covered the fact that this had just hit, was it 1 or 2 or maybe even $3 billion in market cap. And I said to you, there's going to be targets, there's going to be milestones that they set for this business. The first one is going to be to hit 5 billion. The second is going to be to hit 10 billion. And then the third milestone, which may take them some time, is going to hit $20 billion. Now, also at the time, one of the advisors came out and said, the objective of USD1 is to become the 3rd biggest stablecoin in the world. Okay? Now, we're talking about this when it was down here, about the size of other stablecoins down here. Since then, it's grown 3 to 4x, and it's currently sitting in 5th position. It's only $250 million away from DAI. So, what could we see here? Probably within the next, I would say, 4 or 5 months, we're going to see USD1 being the 3rd biggest stablecoin in the world. Now, let's say it gets to the $10 billion market cap that I'm talking about. What's that going to do to the revenue of World Liberty Financial? It's going to bring them in somewhere in the region of $400 to $450 million. Whereas now they're bringing in $200 to $250 million in revenue. If they spend that $450 million on buying back their World Liberty Financial tokens, they're buying back roughly 10% of the supply. Whereas now they're buying back about 5 or 6% of their supply. So they will be able to buy back double the amount of the token, which again is just going to absolutely push the price up. Now, I'm not going to mention the name of another token that's doing this, but that other token is getting through this market correction in the same way that World Liberty Financial's token is getting through this correction. and that is it's not actually fallen an awful long way. So clearly, a buyback mechanism for these types of tokens is going to work when you have a consistent, non-market related revenue stream. In the case of USD1, it's the fact they're bringing in $20-30 million a month in revenue. That's the key. The bigger the stablecoin grows, the more the buybacks on WLFI, and the higher the price will be pushed because of that. It is a simple, symbiotic relationship. World Liberty Financial's USD1, by the way. One of the questions in chat that was asked, by the way, by our very good friend, Villain Bear, came in and asked some questions. We're going to answer Villain Bear's questions right now because it's really important. USD1 is just a normal stablecoin, or is it a liquidity-bearing stablecoin? That was Villain Bear's question. To answer your question, Villain Bear, it is a treasuries-backed stablecoin. It is like Circle's and Tether's stablecoin, USDT and USDC. It's exactly the same. It's not an algorithmic stablecoin. It's not a stablecoin that grows in time like Syrup USDC, Syrup USDT. It's not like that. This is a stablecoin. $1 of USD1 today is $1 of USD1 in a year's time. It's a stablecoin, and it's an actual stablecoin. Now, you did ask a second question. And by the way, if you ask questions in chat, we will be dropping some prizes to those that ask the best questions. Is WLFI based and headquartered in the USA? That's your question. I've shown you the team. I brought up the team to show you. I'm going to do that one more time, just so all the latecomers can see. This is going to be, as far as I'm aware, a fully audited US enterprise. The stable coin, as far as I'm aware, is going to be brought under the Genius Act. So in answer to your question, this is the team. The team is made up of the Trump family, of Chase, of Zach, of Stephen, as those that have read out. And if we go over here, I was hoping it was going to show the address, but it isn't. They're an American-based business. So this has been set up to be an American-based stablecoin. I hope that answers your question. Now, there are going to be more questions in chat. Feel free to ask. What else do we ask? Just type the question in chat. WLFI is World Liberty Finance, correct? Good evening to you. Manjeet is in chat. Hello, Manjeet. Remember, if you want to ask a question, ask it in chat. I'm going to pick the best question in chat. The best question in chat so far, by the way, has been Villain Bear. So feel free to ask questions in chat and we will try and answer them. Now then, so now you kind of understand the symbiotic relationship between the stablecoin and the WLFI token. And what is that? Very simply put, the tokens being bought back are being bought back with the profit from USD1. So USD1 grows in size, the buybacks grow in size, the token price gets pushed up. We can go back to September, October, November last year. Villain Bear in chat can attest to the fact that we have been talking about WLFI for months now, because it is, for me, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, new stable coins around. WLFI is one of the tokens, one of the biggest tokens around. Now, this is just a very brief website explaining what USD1 is. First of all, stable and fully backed. That answers Villain Bear's question as well. USD1 is redeemable 1-for-1 with US dollars. USD1 is backed by dollars and US government money market funds. Tether, Circle, USD1, they buy American debt, treasuries gilts that pay 3.5-4.5% in interest. That interest goes to the USD1 bank account, basically. Now, when we're talking about having $100 of government debt, you're going to make $3 or $4 a year. When we're talking about having $10 billion of government debt or $9 billion of government debt, you're talking about having $450 million a year in interest alone. Again, that's what is used to buy back WLFI. That's what's used to basically push the price up. Now, I've got some price targets for WLFI, but they're not going to be anytime soon, okay? Remember, you come here, we do not sell you the moon, okay? We are realistic on this channel. We've got realistic price targets. We have long-term price targets, yes, but we have realistic price targets. Now, this is multi-chain. USD1 is on multiple chains. It's available across different DeFi partners. We're going to be very careful what we talk about there because obviously we're streaming on Binance. We have to honor our agreement with Binance. It's settled on chains. It's settled on chain. It's transparent reserves. These attestation reports, attestation's a very posh word. Basically, a different company, an audit company, comes in from the outside and looks at the bank accounts of World Liberty Financial and then produces a report every month, every quarter, every 6 months, however it's done, and basically publishes that. And they attest to the fact that they have the funds they say they have. So basically, they are saying, we believe them, they have the money they're talking about. That's important. And attestation, it's one of those terms that people might brush over and not understand what it means. It basically means we've checked and the numbers add up. Now, again, we're not going to go through all of this because we're streaming on Binance. So you can use it on multiple chains. And what I want to talk about next very quickly is the supply surge. And this is what's important. The reason I'm a big fan of USD1 is because it's very similar to the other partner that we talk about on a regular basis. And the reason I like businesses that grow is it comes down to a simple thing. Said this on the stream yesterday. How does this company make money? Number 2, does this company make a profit? And number 3, can you explain to me in a lift in 30 seconds what this business does? Those 3 things you should ask of any project. How does it make money? And if it does make money, how much profit does it make? That should be the only thing that matters. Now, everybody we partner with, I can answer those first 2 questions because I know exactly where they make money from. Now, what's important about 2 of the clients that we've got is this. They're not just making money, they're growing exponentially. And this is what's important to understand about USD1. It's not going to be a $5 billion stablecoin in 6 months' time. It's going to be a $10 billion stablecoin in 6 months' time, which means the revenue doubles and more than likely the profit will triple because of their overheads. So WLFI's USD1 supply surges by 191% following a slew of DeFi integrations. The Trump family stablecoin outstripped other real-world assets, and I'm not going to mention their names, of course. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see. Despite initial skepticism from the crypto community, WLFI stablecoin USD1 has exploded to become Solana's fastest growing DeFi asset. Now, again, I don't want to bring up Camino Finance. I don't want to bring up Jupiter because we don't have that much time. But you know we talk about Camino Finance on here. You know how to find them. And if you find them, you're going to find USD1 over there. Now, off the back of these DeFi integrations and trading competitions, the stablecoin has almost tripled its Solana-based supply in the last 30 days. What's more, USD1's absence from Solana's emerging lending market suggests the Trump's family stablecoin still has room to grow. Can USD1 compete with others, which we're not going to mention the names of? USD1 was launched by WLF and is enjoying a parabolic rise in usage and penetration across Solana DeFi. After floundering for several months following its deployment on Solana in September, its supply has grown by 191% in a month. Now, many of you out there probably don't see the war that's raging in stablecoins because it's never at the forefront of the news. You look at other tokens, you maybe will look at Pith, compare it to Chainlink, 2 oracles going head to head. But stablecoin markets are all about usage and attention. You want to be able to compete with the likes of Tether and Circle. You're going to have to pull up your pants and you're going to have to be a big boy about it and you're going to have to go to battle. And if you don't, you're going to end up with a $100 million, $200 million stablecoin. So you've got to go to war. And it is a war. It's a war to grab attention, grab the market share, and grow your business. The more you grow your business, the stronger a competitor you become. And that's what they've done, especially on Solana, especially on Binance, especially with the competitions they're running, especially with the one that's currently running at the minute with USD1. That's what you want to focus on. And you, as an end user, you need to take advantage of that. If they're going to be paying you 8% for holding USD1, why are you not holding USD1? Because they're incentivizing you to do it. It's fully backed by US government debt. It's not an algorithmic stablecoin. It's there, and they're paying you. They're basically paying you to hold their tokens to grow their business. It's entirely ethical to come to you and say, here's our stablecoin, here's some WLFI tokens, away you go. So it's a great competition for you to be in. So USD1 Solana-based supply is hot on the heels of other rival stablecoins. DeFi Llama indicates that USD1 has become Solana's 5th largest stablecoin. The coin's growth is even more pronounced across multi-chain economy. Again, they're running various different campaigns. $40 million incentive campaign with Binance, absolutely incredible. USD1's Solana-based supply is 8.9, almost 9%. Absolutely incredible growth. USD1's prolific growth is attributed to incentives being run in collaboration with Solana DeFi apps. Key amongst these are campaigns with Camino, Solana's biggest lending platform. Again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because we are on Binance. So again, you want to be looking at stuff like this. You want to be taking advantage of it because that's why it's there. That is why it's there. I have a guest. I can't attend the lives. No problem. You are absolutely no problem. And good evening. I hope you are doing incredibly well. Let me very quickly head over and see if we have any more messages or have any more questions. Good evening, Manjeet. They've read all of these. Check the trades. Follow me. Follow you back. Yes. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do now very quickly before we go on is we are at 27 minutes past. And we still have plenty to get through. So if you give me a second, we're going to bring that up and I'm going to drop a red packet in chat because it's been another 20 minutes since I've done that. So just give me 1 second. And we will drop this box. And hopefully you will see that drop on your screen as we speak. There we go. Right then. So, this is the story. You now know what World Liberty Financial is. You now know they have a governance token. You now know they have a stablecoin. You now know that the stablecoin profits are being used to buy back the WLFI token. That is what you know. You also know there's exponential growth in USD1. They've now hit a $5 billion market cap. You know they're the top 5 stablecoin on Solana. So these are the facts, okay? That's where we are today. But where are we going to? That's the next question. Now, of course, everybody and their aunt knows that World Liberty Financial is not just setting its sights on having a stablecoin. They have their sights set a lot higher. They're in different talks with different people. They've been to Gibraltar, where I am based, to talk about the data farm that's being built here. We know they're moving into AI. We know they're looking at all of these things. But another big part of their play is this on your screen now. Trump-linked crypto company applies for federal banking charter. World Liberty Financial is seeking regulatory approval to issue and manage USD1, its dollar-backed stablecoin. Let's get rid of the advert. World Liberty Financial, the crypto firm associated with Donald Trump's family, announced Wednesday that it had applied for a banking charter with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. I'm not sure if that should say controller. Maybe, maybe not. Now, this is dated from the 7th of January, so this is a good 4 weeks ago. These things don't move as quickly in Web 2 as they do in Web 3. These things take months, not hours and days, but it means we can keep on top of stuff like this and talk about it. So they've applied for a banking charter. According to the company, they intend to use a national trust charter to issue USD1, the company's dollar-backed stablecoin, and to allow customers to more readily use and convert the cryptocurrency. This application marks a further evolution of World Liberty financial ecosystem, said Zach Witkoff, the proposed president and chair of World Liberty Trust Company, the entity that applied for the charter. Witkoff is the son of Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. All three of the president's sons are listed on the website as co-founders, as we showed you before. The OCC did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. At the end of last year, the OCC conditionally granted a number of crypto companies national trust charters, a form of banking charter that puts the companies under some federal regulations and allows them to manage digital assets and other financial instruments without having to seek state-by-state approval. WLF joins a growing list of these, and they want to gain access to skinny master accounts at the Federal Reserve, which would grant them limited use of the Fed's crucial payment system. Last month, the Federal Reserve asked for feedback. We don't need to talk too much about this. Now, let me kind of bring this up for 1 second. There is some kind of image, optic that goes on in the background that somehow World Liberty Financial is this, World Liberty Financial is that. Let me make one thing very, very clear. Everything this company is doing, they are doing by the book. They're doing it by the book. They're applying for the banking license. They're trying to grow the stablecoin, and they're trying to grow their business. They are doing it all by the book. Now, there is the long game and there is the short game. There are short gains which you can make from cutting corners, whatever it might be. The long game is this. Several crypto institutions want to become banks. Why? Because banking is regulated and banking gives you access to blue chip clients. World Liberty Financial wants access to the American markets. It wants access to deal with the BlackRocks of this world, the Goldman Sachs of this world, the Chase. They want to be able to work on a level playing field with all of these other banks. And we've been saying this for 3 years. Crypto companies only want to be treated the same way that everybody else wants to be treated. They don't want special treatment. They're not special snowflakes, but they don't want to be hounded because they have the word crypto in their name. So applying for a federal banking charter, as many others have done, brings them under the umbrella of the Federal Reserve and the regulations. The attestations to prove that they have the funds is another step in that. Companies, blue chip companies, NASDAQ listed companies, they all have to have their bank accounts attested to. World Liberty Financial does the same thing. So they're not asking for special favors. They're not getting this because they're Donald Trump's company. They're getting this because they're going about it in the right way. And they're also working with other partners. They're working with mining companies. They're working with AI companies, data warehouse businesses. So they're doing things the right way because there's no need to try and cut corners with this kind of stuff because they know how all of this works. If they can become a conduit between Web 2 and Web 3, that is what they're going to do. There are many things we were going to put into this stream, by the way, that we simply do not have enough time to do. And I'm trying to get through this with enough time to be able to go through the charts on WLFI as well. So the banking license is going to come the same way it's going to come for the other companies. The other big stable coins, Circle and Tether, they've also applied for this federal banking charter. Okay, they're also in the same industry. USD1 wants to play at the same table. It wants to be there. It wants to get involved. They've also applied for it. I would pretty much be certain that because this is going to become a regulated stablecoin, like the others, they're going to get the license. Okay, I think that goes without saying. So once they get the license, they will be able to do more in America and, of course, more internationally than they can do now. But they're playing it by the book. So the stablecoin, for me, gets a big check. Now, the other thing that World Liberty Financial do, which probably a lot of competition doesn't do, is they're fully open and transparent with their portfolio. Again, they're an on-chain business, so of course they publish things on-chain. And we know what they're doing, because not only do we have articles to go through about it, we are not a half measure. We know what we're doing, and we're going to show you exactly what they have on their books. This is World Liberty Financial's portfolio, and we're going to go through it as we have done many, many times before. We've gone through and we've explained to you what's on their books, because we'll get to that in a minute. But one of the things to understand about it is they are very, very centric around a very specific thing, which I'm going to explain to you in a minute. But before we get to that, we're going to go through this article. I'm going to make sure that our thing has dropped. Just give me a second. I'm going to switch over here because I'm going to try and read some of the comments. And I don't want to have everything on screen as I read through the comments. Will WLFI be under investigation after the presidency is over? Is one question. I'm not seeing too many more questions. Remember, if you ask questions in chat, I'll answer them. Will it be under investigation after the presidency is over? No. For the very reasons I've just explained. Everything they're doing is by the book. That's the point. They are doing the stablecoin banking charter by the book. They've gone by the book when it comes to setting up the stablecoin. They're going to go through the right procedures. The coin itself is registered in America. So they're not doing anything outside of what I would call normal business. Right, let me just drop one more box and then we will get on with this. Now, remember, if you are watching and you are not following, then you are losing out because we are likely to do more specific videos over the coming weeks on World Liberty Financial. So please bear that in mind. If you don't follow us, you're missing out on understanding all about this. So Villain Bear, at the minute, by the way, is absolutely destroying you all when it comes to questions, and Villain Bear is likely to win. So ask a question, and you will get a reward. So feel free to ask a question. Right, let's get back to this. I will go back onto full screen. Now then, where are we? Trump-backed WLFI snaps up 2,868 ETH and sells $8 million worth of wrapped Bitcoin. Now, again, we're going to go through this portfolio in a minute. But as I said, this is on-chain. This is verifiable. Arkham are an independent company, the same way that we use June to analyze other companies that we cover. Arkham is a great place. You can go and look at Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet through Arkham. You can also go and look at World Liberty Financial. Their wallets have been identified. You can watch what they trade. We're going to go through that. But this is basically an article to kind of explain that they switch between. Now, the thing I was telling you about before, about a very specific strategy, is this. They have bought 2,868 ETH, but they've sold $8 million worth of wrapped Bitcoin. Now, that wrapped Bitcoin is going to become important in a minute when we get to that. So World Liberty Financial, according to blockchain trackers, 93.77 wrapped Bitcoin was sold, which worked out at roughly $8 million at the time of the swap. The proceeds were used to buy around 2,870 ETH with an average price of $2,813. The trade was executed from a wallet that on-chain less linked to the WLFI treasury. Prices were modestly lower for ETH. We don't really care about that kind of stuff. And this is going to be what we're going to look at now. So the reasons behind the shift. Several reasons could explain the swap. Holding ETH gives direct access to smart contracts, staking and DeFi tools that wrapped Bitcoin cannot offer on its own. Some market watchers think WLFI may be positioning to use ETH for on-chain services, staking or profit from future network activity. Others suggest it could be a way to rebalance risk between stores of value and utility tokens. Reports say no single motive can be proved from the chain itself, only the movement of funds. Now, they move funds around. I'm going to bring this up to be kind of full screen. And I want to kind of explain my thinking behind this. And that is what I've brought up on here. This is the holdings by chain. Now, Forever and a day, ever since World Liberty Financial came into existence, I've said one thing. The Trump family and the board of World Liberty Financial are interested in one thing: yield, making money. And I always hark back to this. Company should make revenue, it should make profit. World Liberty Financial could just have gone out and bought 10,000 Bitcoin and sat there and looked at it. Doesn't go to work. Warren Buffett said something a long time ago. Gold is lovely. It's a big, orange, shiny rock. You can put it in the corner of your room and you can stroke it, but it won't physically make you any money. Warren Buffett would much rather own shares in a business that makes something. So, farmland, Apple, whatever it might be. World Liberty Financial have focused on Ethereum, the Ethereum blockchain. The wrapped Bitcoin was on the Ethereum blockchain. Everything they do is on Ethereum. You can see that in this holdings by chain in front of your eyes now. Their portfolio is worth 6.154 billion. 6.15 billion of that is on Ethereum. Now, for argument's sake, let's say they were to leverage that and put a lot of that into work on the Ethereum blockchain and earn a meager, let's say, 2%. Let's say they earn 2% from that. That would generate them $120 million a year in revenue right now from that portfolio, finger in the air. So they are about making money. Buying Bitcoin is all well and good, but it's a store of value. It's not a generating business. Ethereum can be staked. You stake 10,000 Ethereum, you're more than likely going to get about 300 Ethereum a year in return. Tom Lee generates a lot of money from his ETH treasury. Arkham highlight the fact that Ethereum is the number one chain that World Liberty Financial is on, and I think they've highlighted it for that very reason. So their portfolio is set up to generate revenue. Now, they have had other holdings in the past which are no longer here. We've talked about the fact that Tron, Justin Sun, was also involved with making a deposit into World Liberty Financials. He was one of the very first stakers or VCs or participants in World Liberty Financial. He sent over, I think it was $30 million worth of Tron at the time, maybe. But at the end of the day, they are now wholly focused, in my opinion, on making money from the Ethereum blockchain. That is where they are looking to make money from. Now, before we move on to have a look at the chart and the conclusion, we're going to look at this. This is the next thing that they are working on. And again, I would argue that this is the next kind of element of what we were talking about before. When they want to become more than a stable coin, they were going to look at a banking. This is the World Liberty Forum. Now, we're not going to play this video. Donald Trump Jr. is in here. It starts in probably, I think this is about 2 weeks today. So 2 weeks today, 18th of February, is when this happens. A select group of 300 global leaders will convene at Mar-a-Lago for the World Liberty Forum to discuss the future of finance and tech. Now, lots of these types of events go on around the world for various different things. The Bilderberg Group meet, there's the Davos World Economic Forum meet, and they normally bring selected individuals to come and listen to the talks and come and talk themselves. Now, they are bringing, and the reason I want to talk about this is they are bringing a very, very select group of people who are not just anybody's, not David Beckham's, they are real big hitters in the world. So they've carefully created the event for CEOs, investors, policymakers, and technologists, which collectively oversee trillions in capital, hosted by Eric and Donald Trump Jr., Zach and Alex Witkoff, and it's designed for depth and candor. Now, this is the confirmed group of speakers, and this is, I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? There is a name that stands out there who I don't think should be there, but I think he's there because they're trying to massage his ego. Now, the chairman and CEO of Goldman Sachs is there. The chairman of the US Commodities Futures Trading Commission is there. The CEO of Franklin Templeton is there. Kelly Loeffler is there. You know I'm missing a name out. The chair and CEO of NASDAQ, the president of the New York Stock Exchange Group is there. A senator is there. Starwood Capital, another senator is there. Redbird and Clear Lake Capital Groups are both there. Okay, these are the confirmed speakers. Now, this is the one that sticks out for me. Gianni Infantino. Okay, he's the president of FIFA. He's probably there to talk about Messi's chances of winning a second World Cup. Who knows? But apart from him, this is a who's who of who is who in America, in my opinion. Now, of course, there are a few people missing. BlackRock aren't there, for example, but Goldman Sachs is there. Franklin Templeton is there. This is a proper, serious group of people. Now, of course, this is request invite only. I don't think I'm going to be able to request an invite, unfortunately. Who can attend? This is likely to be very, very high profile people. Business attire, meals are included, and we don't need to care about that. But this is the big thing that's happening in 2 weeks' time. And again, what's important about things like this is they're not just events that happen on a certain day where they say it'd be a really good idea if we just go around a table and have a chat. These are the types of events where you see big announcements. Okay, we saw at Binance Blockchain Week, we saw CZ go head-to-head with Peter Schiff. Bitcoin versus digital gold. But we saw announcements upon announcements upon announcements from different Binance individuals, companies associated with Binance. We've then had Solana Blockchain Week. We had announcement upon announcement there. This is, I think, going to be something where in 2 weeks' time, something big is going to be announced from World Liberty Finance or World Liberty Financial. I think something big is going to be announced in 2 weeks' time. And because of that, the one thing I suggest we go and do now, before we get on to the conclusion, is go and have a quick look at the price. Now, hopefully the Oracle hasn't done too much damage to the charts. It's actually how it was set up. Brilliant. Now, what we've done is we've gone back to November for the price action of WLFI token. We're going to call it World Liberty token for now. Coming in at 13 cents. When this token launched, I put this line in here at about there. Actually, it's all the way down here, isn't it? I think it's been lower than this. Basically, I said anything about 11 cents is what I would focus on. We haven't really been that close to that level. Even with the corrections that we've had along the way, we haven't seen 11 cents. And it could be wishful thinking on my part to get to 11 cents. Either way, the one area that we talk about for buying a token is this area here. We call this the kill zone, okay? When a token, which you believe in, you have conviction in, falls into the red zone, that is where you buy, okay? Now, we've done this in the past. We've done this with Cardano. We've done this with XRP. We've done this with Solana. When it hits the red zone, that is where you buy. In fact, if you're in our Telegram group, you will have seen a screenshot from me today of me buying some tokens, which I said I was going to do. I said if this price of Solana goes between $80 and $100, I am going to buy. And today I bought some Solana, okay, because it fell into that buy zone, okay? This is sitting literally on top of the buy zone. Now, we did have a question in chat, or we did have a question, before, from Snake. Snake said, I believe sell at 20 cents was what Snake said about the price. Now, let's throw a line in here for what Snake is saying, which is about there. Now, he probably remembers one of my streams when I said pretty much that. I think 20 cents is the next short to medium term target for WLFI. Now, again, you're going to get people and you're going to watch people who are going to say this. This token has just bounced and it's going to go straight to 20 cents. Absolutely not. It's not going to go anywhere near 20 cents in the near future. This is what I think is going to happen. Now, as long as all things remain equal, okay, we've had Ben Cowan talking about the stock market falling 10 to 15%. He made a video about that within the last 24 hours. Lots of people are talking about the fact that we're going to bounce right now. So, where is my goal for WLFI in the short term? And short term is probably February and March. My short-term target is going to be getting back into this channel here. This channel is about 17 to 19 cents. Okay, let's just draw that. So 17 to 19 cents is where I think we can go. Now, if we look at this period of time over here, which was pretty much from the very beginning of January until we fell out of the channel, which was on the 26th of January. So for basically 3.5 weeks, we sat in this lovely little range between about 15.5 cents and about 19 cents, right? So the first objective of World Liberty Financial is to get back in this range. That's it, okay? Now, we can sit here all day long and talk about the fact that it's going to go to 50 cents or a dollar, okay? People that are telling you that it's going to go to 50 cents or a dollar in the near or short term are basically selling you a lie, okay? This token is not going to 6x in a month when Bitcoin is falling probably below $70,000, okay? It will, however, fight against the tide and probably break up as USD1 starts to grow. So, to recap, because I'm going to have to move on pretty quickly, to recap on where and what I think has happened with World Liberty Financial, we have found a very solid level of support here, okay? Which is, believe it or not, bouncing off the price I said I wanted to buy it at 11 cents, okay? And it's bounced off this a few times back in November, pretty much came back down to it in December, pretty much came back down to it again in December, and then has come back down to it at the very beginning of February. Strong, solid support. And remember this, it's like an elastic band. The lower the price drops, the more tokens can be bought back with the profits from USD1. So this token goes to 5 cents. They can buy 2.5 times the number of tokens. It's not going to go to 5 cents. So 11 cents seems to be a really good level of support. Then we can say, well, it's pretty much held around this level here for the last 3 months. Exactly. So that is probably stage 1. And this is probably stage 2. So get back above 15 cents and then get back into the 17 to 19 cents range. Now, where are we now? 13 cents. So we're talking about a 50% move to the upside in the near term. That's what we're talking about in the near term. Now, again, lots of people want big, shiny targets for where this coin could possibly go in the future. And I'm going to basically give you a rough finger in the air now of where this token can go. Because, again, we could be talking about the next bull run, which is 2029. Okay? This token has got a $3.5 billion market cap. At a dollar, it would have a $25 billion market cap. Okay? Now, this is where you've got to put things into context. A $25 billion market cap is going to put it up towards Tron. Okay? The stable coin for a $25 billion market cap token, the stable coin is more than likely going to need to be, in my very, very humble opinion, somewhere in the region of 50 to 100 billion. Is it likely to get to 50 to 100 billion in the next 4 years? It's gone from 1 billion to 5 billion in the blink of an eye during a downturn. Probably going to see the year out at somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 billion. Okay? So certainly 50 billion seems to be a reasonably good target. So ideally then, where are we going to see World Liberty Financial at a $10 billion market cap? Well, certainly in the 20 to 30 cent range. Maybe if we get to 15 billion at the end of the year, maybe somewhere in the 40 cents range. That's a 3x in a bear market. Now, you can sit there and say, but everything's going to go down. Yes, it will. But you have to understand that the likes of World Liberty Financial and others are buying back tokens every single month. The more you sell, the more they buy. It makes no logical sense to sell a token that the company is buying back in larger and larger amounts. It's supply and demand. Think toilet paper during COVID. What happened? You went to the supermarket, there's no toilet paper. Why? Everybody bought it. Okay? Supply didn't keep up with demand. You're going to start looking at a token which is going to increase in value as the stable coin goes up. That is how I see it playing out. And that's exactly how I see it playing out for the projects we talked about on Saturday, because they are spending 25% of their revenue on buying back their token. World Liberty Financial are spending a lot more of their revenue buying back their token. So it's going to go immeasurably higher. And as I said, maybe by October, November, you're looking at a 30 to 40 cent token by the end of the year. I expect the bear market to finish by about June, July. We get the new Fed chairman, Kevin Walsh. We then see the money printer being turned back on. We see the midterms in October, and then we see the run up towards the end of the year. And as I've said many, many times, Bitcoin's going to finish the year higher than it started, with a big dip in the middle. I think World Liberty Financial, if you can get it anywhere between 10, 11, 12 cents and 13 cents where we are now, I think this is as close to the bottom as we're going to get. As many people have pointed out, the majority of the move down that Bitcoin has done has been done. 126,000 was the all-time high. 69,000 was the previous all-time high. You normally come down to somewhere near the previous all-time high. We're at 74,000. Are we still at 74,000 now? 75,000? 75,000. We've got $6,000 to go to hit our previous all-time high. And then we're not going to go much lower than that unless there is a massive black swan. So from my point of view, I think we're as close to the bottom, especially over the next couple of months, as we're likely to get. Now, my strategy, and the strategy I've had since this token went live, is I am passively accumulating this token. I have it on a different exchange. I don't have it on Binance. And I am buying this token. But I'm not buying it in 10% tranches. I'm buying this token every week for the next 6 months. So another 25 purchases of this token. And then when this token starts to get up towards those prices, obviously, you know, Snake is going to take his profits at 20 cents. He's perfectly entitled to do that. When we start getting towards 30 or 40 cents, I'm probably going to stop dollar cost averaging in, because that's the target I think I'm going to get to. The same with Ethereum and Solana. When they start getting towards the prices that you thought they were going to get to, you shouldn't really start dollar cost averaging, and that's probably the time to take a little bit of profit. Anyway, that is by the by. Now, before we conclude, I am going to drop one more box in chat. How have I managed to be logged out of chat? Oh, I know why. Give me 1 second. We had the very, very short stream cut, didn't we? Just at the beginning of the stream. So give me 1 more second to log back in. I'm going to log in, and then I'm going to drop another packet, and then I'm going to give you my conclusion, which isn't quite ready yet. Just give me a second. There we go. Am I in? Let me just log in now. These things are never meant to run smoothly, are they? Okay. By the way, where we are today, all of the shops are shut. You can't order anything online. Everything is shut. We're going to have to cook. It did drop to 7.5 cents when the flash crash happened in the market in mid-October. You bought it 10 cents back then. I think I did, didn't I? It was a good crash. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I think it's only fair to give Villain Bear the prize. So Villain Bear, who I also owe a prize from for last Wednesday's quiz, I'm also going to give you the prize for today's stream. So you're going to get the prize. You'll be the one asking the best questions. Now, is 100%... the last question you've asked is 100% of value on Ethereum chain high risk? No. I would say, or I would argue, that 100% of your assets in Ethereum would be high risk. So I would say, if I've got Just let me drop this now. 1 second. Make sure I type it properly. I need to type Warhouse. If you were to say, right, we've got $6 billion and we're going to buy Ethereum with it, like Tom Lee dropped. If you're going to have $1 billion and you buy $1 billion of Ethereum, that's high risk. I don't think having $1 billion on a chain is high risk. So, for example, on Solana, you might want to hold USD1. You might want to hold Dupe or another few tokens over there. You might want to have a portfolio on Solana. That's not high risk. What would be high risk is having 100% of your portfolio in Dupe, for example. That's high risk. But there are people who are all based on Ethereum. And again, where is the liquidity in crypto? It's on Ethereum. Where are the stable coins in crypto? They're on Ethereum. So I would say Ethereum is the place to start. If you look at other companies that we cover, which we're not going to mention the names of, where did they start? Ethereum. And then where did they go next? Solana. So where do I think World Liberty Financial, and this is where I'm going to go to at the end of my stream, where do I think World Liberty Financial are going to go in the next 12 months? Solana. Absolutely. They're going to become, or try to become, the biggest stablecoin on Solana. Now, if I was World Liberty Financial, I would want to be the number one stablecoin on Ethereum and the number one stablecoin on Solana. And that would be my goal. Okay? Maybe, Arbitrum, Optimism, yes. Maybe Base, yes. But the first two objectives for me, Ethereum, Solana, game over. That's it. Okay? So that's what I would do in the future. As I've said, I think the stablecoin is going to hit $10 billion before the blink of an eye. I think the token is going to bottom somewhere around here. And believe you me, if it does go to 9 cents, I'm going to be loading up. I think getting to 15 cents is the first objective, and then back into that range, 17 to 19 cents, for me, is the absolute goal that they have to aim for on that token. Now, as we talk, Bitcoin is at $74,000, okay? Bitcoin could very well go to $69,000. If that happens, we could see World Liberty Financial back at 9 cents. That would be one of those prices that you'll look back on the same way when the Oracle was buying Solana at $15. Okay, that's the opportunity that you will get. Now, that is pretty much it from the stream. Now, we are going to stream a couple more times on Binance Square about World Liberty Financial, and I'm going to do them as different streams. This was an overview. This was a one where I wanted to go through everything in one go. And I mean, if you look at what we've been through in an hour, we've been through the website, we've been through the team, we've been through the WLFI token, we've been through USD1, we've been through the supply surge, the growth of that. We've talked about the symbiotic relationship. We've talked about the banking application. We've talked about their portfolio. We've talked about the forum that's coming up in 2 weeks' time. And we've gone through the price. Okay? I've gone through it all in an hour. And I'm tired. But boy, that was fun. Okay? Now, this is an old face. But I can still smile that we got through everything in an hour. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We are going to be streaming again. Probably either next week or the week after. We're going to plan it into our schedule. And then maybe we're going to get the Oracle on to talk about some charts as well. But overall, I've had an absolute blast. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. We are going to be hanging around probably for the next couple of hours because we're streaming again in 2 hours' time. So thank you, everybody, for coming. And I will see you on the next stream. And don't forget to follow us. Don't forget to follow Crypto Warehouse. And we will see you on the next stream. Thank you ever so much for coming. Ciao.